First, you must realize that you have no idea before you can know the idea. We scan across all the frequencies if we want to learn anything new. Let us begin.
What has physics done for me lately?
Furthermore, the equation E is equal mc squared.
We have now acquired a fateful power to alter and to destroy nature.
That's like when you're in physics and you go to Dreamworld saying, oh, this is a physics excursion.
Science. What is it all about?
The whole of human history all falls in the dust of one stroke of the nail file. You can't really get to grips with evolution unless you realise what an enormous amount of time.
Our own planet is only a tiny part of the vast cosmic tapestry, a starry fabric of worlds yet untold.
You're tuned in to what can only be described as the best radio station. On this blue dot we call Earth, it is of course 4ZZZ, your community broadcaster. Be it on your conventional wireless radio by tuning into the classic frequency of 102.1 FM, digital devices such as DAB or smart speaker, listening via the Community Radio Plus app, or streaming us live from our sensational website at 4ZZZ.org.au. And of course you can always listen back to our show or any 4ZZZ show using the ingenious on-demand feature also found at that URL. We also now have a weekly podcast of the show for your listening pleasure, curated by Toby, a condensed version of the show without the music, which my mum prefers. Just search for our show name, which is of course No Idea spelt with a K, your weekly dose of science. And joining me for this episode to speak about all things science are two of my favourite science communicators. May I please introduce Peta.
Hello, Max.
And Gabriel.
Good space time, Max. 8 years ago, so there were some Japanese researchers and developed a fluorescent dye which can be attached to certain cells in a body.
Right.
It's a remarkably photostable dye, so it means its fluorescence emits light at the same wavelength, or very similar to that wavelength. Even if you stuff it around a lot by doing something like chemically linking it to the blood vessels of mice, which is what they did. So they specifically linked this dye to a polysaccharide called dextrin in the mice, and which allowed them to then build a 3D image of the blood vessels throughout the body of the mouse by focusing in on this high brightness, very specific wavelength of the dye that they were using.
I'm assuming this isn't just for pretty pictures.
Not just for pretty pictures. Could have all sorts of medical implications. It worked a lot better than a previously used cyan-based dye and was able to be used for a lot longer. It lasted about 2 minutes, whereas the other one lasted a lot under 1 minute.
Ages.
And it's called PREX 710. Any ideas why it's called PREX 710?
Because Mr. PREX designed it? I don't know.
Something... Nope. I was going to figure out the acronym and I got nowhere.
It's got the 710 at the end because the wavelength it emits sits right at the edge of human vision at 710 nanometers. So right on the border of what we see as red and what we would call infrared beyond human vision. Okay. And it is, of course, our 710th show. What a coincidence, Max. What do you got
right
coming up,
on the edge
Peter?
of human vision. We've gone over it and it's audio only.
We have. I can give you a heads up that 750 is widely considered the wavelength that human vision taps out.
Oh, so at that point, this will be an audio only show as it is today.
What do you got?
I've managed, because I wasn't here last week, I want to pay it back, and we've got 2 marine stories this week, just because I know everyone's waiting for them. And I'm going to start with digging a little deeper into a viral video that I have been sent many times.
Max?
Coffee grounds, the waste product that can be repurposed, hopefully. Gabe, what do you got for us?
I have a brand new species that's been discovered, and I have the sound of it that I think we can get people to text in and have a guess at what this new species is.
A chicken
Max,
on a
I'm
bicycle.
going to let you have a guess first. Any ideas what that mystery little species might be?
It sounds amphibious to me.
Sounds amphibious, Peter.
I don't think amphibious. I think mammal. It's kind of reminding me of like a tree mammal. It sounds like it's in a forest to me.
Okay. What do you reckon that animal is?
Peter.
Okay, there has been a video going around the internet for the past couple days, and it's been sent to me many times. But I just want to start with a little quiz, a little test, a little question. What do you think this sound is?
Toilet.
You think that's a toilet?
In space.
I'm worried about your
Toilet in space. You know what? Sure, let's say that.
The
It's a
$10 million toilet in
space.
space. On the ISS.
I mean, it is pretty exciting. Let's just have a listen to what the person recording had to say, just to give you some context. Language warning here.
Success. Is that the national alert?
It was pretty exciting. Pretty exciting stuff. That sound that you heard is the sound of orcas using a sunfish as a piñata.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah.
So
good.
that's actually a pretty understandable reaction, in my opinion, to be in the water, watch that, and then, I think I'd freak out.
Yeah.
Also, the person that you can hear there is the author of this paper. So I think you just need to keep this in mind. This is a scientist.
Yeah.
Through a snorkel. So there's a lot more to this video than you might think. Have you all seen it? Has everyone seen the video?
Yeah.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Okay. So the cool thing that I don't think people have realised is that this didn't just happen once. It happened twice, which means that there's repetition, which means there is science. And there is actually a published paper on these events.
Fantastic.
It's in Frontiers. It's actually not by universities. It's by a bunch of conservation orgs in the US. So I think they were just on boats and around. And then one of them was a tourist boat. So they just collated the footage and then obviously have science background. So wrote a paper on it, which I think is really cool. Because there is a lot to talk about here. So let's first talk about a sunfish. Now, Max, is this in your list of fishes?
Is it a type of bird? No.
It would be a very bad bird.
When you say sunfish, I can sort of imagine like a marlin type fish. Is it?
Absolutely wrong.
Okay, cool.
I couldn't be more wrong, honestly. A marlin type fish. Yeah, so take a marlin, throw that out of your head. Imagine
Pancake
opposite of a marlin. So molars is their name, or mollies, but the sunfish are the largest bony fishes in the world. So obviously sharks are fish and bigger, but they don't have bones. So these are the largest bony fish. They look, to me, a bit like if a dinner plate was doing a shuckers. Like, imagine a dinner plate and then it's got like two little wings off the end, like this. They can grow to 3 meters in diameter, and yes, they have a diameter because they are very round but flat. Again, dinner plate.
Yeah.
And they can grow to over 2,000 kilos.
Huge.
Huge fish.
Kind of like make the shuckers with your hand, curl your 3 middle fingers in and then stick your other 2 out. That's kind of the shape of a
That
sunfish.
really does look like a sunfish.
And if you've ever heard of the boats in the Sydney to Hobart race hitting a fish on their way down,
almost always
and
a sunfish.
the rudder
Right.
getting wrecked or something, it's usually a big old sunfish sitting on the surface.
And the reason that happens and they get hit a lot by boats is because they spend a lot of the day right at the surface basking in the sun. There's something about the way they like manage their heat is that they actually have to get quite close to the surface. There's apparently some other things too. They got a lot of they've copped it online in the past couple of years. There was this one girl who talked about how she thinks they're useless fish and people jumped on it, blah, blah, blah. They're not. They're fine. The main thing is just that they only eat jellyfish. But like turtles do the same thing. So come after turtles in the same way.
Maybe. They eat some jellyfish. Turtles.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're going to talk about, it eats jellyfish and it doesn't eat anything of substance, like, I want to see that same energy when it's something that you think is cuter. I think it's amazing that something that large can live off of just essentially jelly. They are also able to live without large chunks of their body. There are famous photos of these fish swimming around with giant bite marks in them, where something's taken a chunk out of it and they just seem to not care. They just keep on going. And they exist all over the world, basically, but in the Gulf of California, where both of these events were, they are one of the favourite foods of orca in the area because they're very easy to predate. They kind of just sit on the water, they're very large, so they often get them. So this first started on the 29th of July, 2024, so about 2 years ago. It was in midday.
Exactly 2 years ago.
Exactly 2 years ago, in midday. There was a seamount off of Mexico, and there was a group of 5 orcas that this boat was following. So 3 adult females, 1 adult male, and a juvenile. And at this point, they'd been predating some other things, blah, blah, blah. And then they noticed that one of the adult females was holding this sunfish that was already dead, by the way, by the tail. And to me, this looks like it's sort of in the same way that at a kid's birthday party, an adult will hold out a piñata like this.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
straight
stabilize
armed,
it.
Okay.
Stabilize it.
Yeah.
To me, personally, it really reminds me of how my old Taekwondo instructor used to hold out the boards for us to kick. So she's holding this sunfish, stabilizing it. And then the adult male just starts charging. Like, you can see it's putting so much effort into this. Do, fast, 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 fast. And then right before it gets close, the female lets go of the fish and moves backwards, sort of. And the male hits it with full force. And that's the sound of the orca hitting.
That's the sound of the sunfish exploding.
That is the sound of a sunfish
Into the
exploding.
water, yeah.
And it really does explode.
It's
If you
like
haven't seen the video,
the sunfish had a microphone on them, wasn't it?
It very much
the
was.
sound quality is so the authors actually said in the paper that they were surprised how loud the sound was of this sunfish disintegrating in the water.
Cool.
But when you look at it, I mean, it really just, there's not much left of it. There's tiny little fragments of fish just floating around the water. It honestly looks like someone's poured bait in the water. It's so disintegrated. It's everywhere. And then we hear our author freaking out, as you would if you saw a fish eviscerated in front of your eyes. And then this is a sort of interesting thing. The juvenile orca started eating all those little bits that were suspended in the water, while the adults still went for the main bits of carcass that were left over. So the bits that hadn't been sort of completely dissolved. It was flesh still on the bone. And then, on the 7th of September, 2025, a tourist group filmed what would become the second event, meaning that this was no longer an isolated event, had repetition, and became science. So this was 3 adult female orcas and 1 calf, which is a pretty normal pod sort of distribution. And it was exactly the same as event 1. So one of the adults held it, another adult rammed the fish, and this was actually my favorite video, and it didn't go viral online, but I think it's amazing because we're sort of on the other side, right? So the sunfish is in front of us, and then the orca's behind that.
Charging towards camera.
And it hits it, the fish explodes, but then the orca does this thing where it almost like, you know, if you're running really fast and then you're trying to brake and you sort of like lean backwards and it's this almost very human movement of it pulling itself back, braking, and it does like a little flip in the water.
Kind of like the cockiness of Usain Bolt sort of pumping his chest as before he's even crossed the finish line.
It just has this amazing humanistic quality of you can almost see them just being so hyped about what they're doing and just like, yeah, that's sick. Look what we did. They're just like rolling around. And then so after the molars obviously disintegrated. This one was also dead, by the way. They were both dead before this happened. 2 adults went for the bits of molar still intact. 1 adult went for the bits in the water, but doesn't seem to be eating them, just seems to be sort of like maneuvering the pieces with its mouth and sort of moving them around, which is odd. But in this case, the juvenile also ate from the main carcass, so didn't eat the bits in the water. So what is happening here? This is the science bit. Firstly, it is super amazing coordination. We've talked a lot on this show about orca and their coordination and how they, you know, that one where they were like breaking up salmon for dolphins. So that's a different species that they're working with. But they are just known for their ability to work with each other, with other species, with the things around them, making tools. So this is just yet another example of that. The fact that one orca knows to stabilize it and keeps it in this very good position for them to be able to hit. The other thing here is ramming. Now, people more likely have heard of orca ramming things. It's not unlikely. You may have probably heard about them ramming boats in the Mediterranean that belong to rich people. But it's actually not been seen as a predation strategy before, which is where this gets really interesting. So even though the fish were dead beforehand, so they didn't use it to kill the fish, it still counts as a part of predation because it was the fragmentation of the flesh. It's them breaking it up, theoretically. And they think this could be for a couple of reasons why they're doing this. Number 1 is breaking it up into bits for the kids.
Yes.
In both events, there was a juvenile present, and the first event, the juvenile was seen to only eat the bits in the water and not from the main fish. Again, these are huge fish, very hard to break down, so it may not be easy for the babies to go for the main fish. Maybe this helps them in the same way that you would cut up your veggies for your toddlers. You know, same thing, just break it up. It's actually called facilitation feeding, this idea of breaking something up or making it easier for someone else to eat. They also posit a strange idea about the microbiome of the sunfish, so the molar. Apparently they've got a thick collagen layer that contains a lot of these very distinct microbes, and we know that those microbes do get shared from prey to predator.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were like, oh, well, maybe they're doing this because it helps the predators pick up the microbiome as it's distributed into the water. It might have nutrition benefits. I'm skeptical of this. Like, it probably happens. Whether that's intentional or not is a big leap to take. But then I think they've landed on what is most likely to be happening here, and they say most likely, which is it's just fun.
Yeah, playtime.
I mean, listen to the orca at the second event. This is this sound. This is right after it's exploded a fish. And we know orcas like to play with their food. So I think that's probably the most likely, is this is just fun for them. It kind of looks fun, to be honest. If I was going to kill a sunfish anyway, and I could do that.
They can explode.
They can explode.
Yeah. Or wear it like a hat.
They're like the salmon. Yeah.
Hit us up, Gabe.
Question for you. Well, for a start, we've had some good guesses in on the mystery animal.
Are they serious guesses?
We had one guess. Our first guess, Max, you can't spoil this.
Okay.
Because the first guess got it so correct. They didn't just get the type of animal. They got the common
new
name
species?
and the species scientific name. Incredible work, Stephen. So I will read that one out later. Owen texted in mystery sound, either Max or no idea team meeting, or in a no idea team meeting, or a non-subscriber. Play you the sound again.
So the baby harp seal plays when someone subscribes, and that's what we play when someone doesn't subscribe.
That's our mystery new species, but it's not what I'm talking about now, because we'll get into that later. Right now, what I want to get into is a different mystery, which is why are there no insects in your ocean, Peter?
I mean, you could argue that a lot of like prawns and arthropods are.
Not an insect.
God's sake,
Different
bloody
things.
Entomologists, who cares? They're close enough.
Why are there no insects out in the open ocean? They
can't hack it.
Well, exactly.
They can't breathe.
They're almost in every freshwater habitat, though, Max, around the world. More than 60% of freshwater species are actually insects, particularly in their larval stages. They're using freshwater habitats, right? Like everything, like mosquitoes, all sorts of animals will use water for the larval stage, all sorts of insects. And one of the leading hypotheses for why they aren't any insects in the open ocean is not salt. It's that they can't deal with depth. Freshwater habitats tend to be very shallow.
You don't have to go deep. You can stay on the surface.
Well, and there is some evidence of insects using the surface of the ocean in certain parts, like in mangrove habitats and things. And
I've definitely bitten by a lot of
But the question is, if you go out
insects
into the open ocean, you don't find insects. And one of the ideas is perhaps they can't deal with depth, and perhaps they can't deal with predators right at the surface, which would mean, like, if you look at something like plankton that's just sitting at the surface, it will often dive down during the day to get into dark and come back up. So there's this idea that you need depth to be able to be a small little thing surviving in the ocean, like an insect, and they can't deal with that depth. But a new study has just found a freshwater insect that completely ruins that idea.
Thank you.
So this was published in Science's journal Comparative Physiology by Canadian, Malawian, and Scottish researchers led out of the University of British Columbia. Can I get a QS ranking for British Columbia?
47?
Yeah, I'm 50.
45. 45. They were studying a type of lake fly native to East Africa called Caraborus edulis. Specifically, they were tracking the larvae of these flies. So their life cycle is they are a fly. They lay eggs on or around water.
So this fly's life cycle is that they are a fly.
They start
That's
as
good.
fly. They then lay egg. They then hatch from egg into water, and the larvae then grows into a fly. Very standard fly life cycle. But they put these sonar systems down into Lake Malawi in East Africa. Lake Malawi is huge.
It's massive.
Huge. So nearly half the size of Tasmania.
It's basically
stretched out in
an
a
inland
big
sea.
long thing. But yeah, huge lake. And what they were doing was mimicking what researchers have done in the ocean for plankton, which is try and track the movement of large amounts of very small organisms using sonar. So you ping it, and in this case, they have these air sacs within the larvae, and that sort of
That'd change it, yeah.
That's the
bounces around
signature.
the sound.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly right. And so what they can see is they can see this large body of biomass made up of lots and lots and lots of tiny little centimeter long larvae moving up and down Lake Malawi throughout the day. It's very similar to what they've seen in the ocean with the movement there. In this case, though, it's not plankton in the ocean, it's larvae in a freshwater lake. 200 meters was how deep these larvae got in
pretty deep.
Lake Malawi. And moving so far down that they got into what they call the Z zone, right at the bottom of the lake where there's no oxygen.
Yes,
in the water.
that would be bad.
So they get that far down, and then they come back up at nighttime.
They
and
get
then
there like,
descend
oh,
back down,
nah.
and then come back up, and then descend back down and come back up. So then now they're like, well, how? They figured this out. They try to figure out how they're able to do that. And the secret for the movement is those air sacs that they're using for the sonar. 2 pairs of them, which they kind of use like
sort of like a
ballast
swim bladder.
tanks, like a swim bladder in fish. Yeah, very similar. And so they can change their buoyancy and control whether they rise or sink in the lake by adjusting the size of those air sacs. And the walls of the air sacs contain resolin, which is an unusually elastic material found in many insects. They use a chemical process to change this. It's changing the pH of the resolin along the walls of the air sacs, and that can cause it to expand or contract. So they're using a chemical reaction.
That's
to,
cool.
like changing the acidity or alkalinity of it to expand or contract these air sacs, and that change in the volume of the air sacs gives them precise control over their depth. The question for why they don't implode when they get to that depth, well, that they figured out with a pressure chamber, putting these larvae in and seeing how deep they could simulate until they went boop.
This is real tardigrade stuff going on there.
Really?
Chuck them into space. See if they can do it.
The video's great. They're in this lab. They've got this like heavily sealed pressure container with larvae in it, and they're seeing how deep they can simulate until they just implode on themselves. Poor larvae were harmed in the making of this research. It wasn't clear. They said, though, that depending on the size of the larvae, they could get to depths up to 500 meters. That's how much they simulated in the pressure chamber. So typically in the lake, they were getting, I think 230 meters was the deepest they measured. That may have just been a factor. That's how deep the lake was in that spot.
And also, if there's a dead zone, you can't really go through that.
True, there'd be a limit there as well. Yeah, so 500 meters, but around 400 is what they're saying it would be a typical larvae's limit. And when they tested other similar species, they only reached 100-ish meters, or even some of them were like 20 meters-ish getting down. So this species clearly has an adaptation, not just to get that deep, but to survive at that depth beyond what other insects, even very similar other types of flies, can do. They said that, well, actually there was this researcher, Sheila Patek, who told the journal Science, they did like a news article write-up about it, that this type of discovery is something that will go into textbooks and make us rethink what is and isn't possible. Insect biologist at Duke University is Sheila Patek, and it challenges the idea of depth limitation on ocean insects, because if that's the idea for why there aren't insects out in the open ocean, this insect shows, well, they can clearly adapt to deal with depth.
I'm interested in why it isn't salt. Because salt seems like the obvious one for me, because salt tolerance is the thing that all marine creatures have to get around, because salt draws out water from your body.
My understanding is the reason that salt isn't one of the... Well, it is still an hypothesis for why there aren't insects in the open ocean, but there are insects that do seem to deal with, brackish water and probably heavily salted water in mangroves and things as well. Like there do seem to be insects that can exist in saltwater environments, at least to some extent. So this ruins the idea. And we're back to not knowing why there aren't insects out in the deep ocean. And they do kind of speculate that it may just be because we haven't really found them yet. Maybe we...
No, don't do that. Don't give my dreams.
Well, it's a bit like the alien thing, isn't
it? But if they're 200 meters deep and it's larvae mixed in with plankton, then maybe we just haven't found them yet.
I'm not looking forward to getting bitten by mosquitoes out at sea. It's one of my favourite things about being offshore, is that there's no insects. It's great.
That's what I got for you, mate.
You know I haven't had the mics on at all, and no one's come down to tell me.
Oh,
What is going
Maximillian.
on? Well, we've got a critical error on the video recast now too. Everything's happening.
Everything's just broken on you, Max.
Max started Weird Science and the thing went, no, actually, uninterested.
You tuned to 4ZZZ and the show with no idea with me, Max. Anyway, scientists have developed a new recipe for turning coffee waste into fuel. And as every barista knows, including Gabe, when you brew a cup of coffee, you are left with a pile of used grounds. And worldwide, this adds up to 6 million tonnes of waste per year. Pretty impressive.
I mean, I like the idea that it can be fuel because coffee is fuel for me, and now the grounds are fuel for something else. Coffee is go-go juice for me and I guess engines?
Yes, it is. Well done. Spent coffee grounds actually contain 15% oil by weight, making them a promising low-cost source of biodiesel. The challenge has been...
beans.
Yes, the good oil. The challenge has been figuring out how to extract that oil efficiently without wrecking the rest of the material, which also holds valuable sugars and lignin that can be turned into other fuels and chemicals. A team of researchers from the University Stat Rivera something, Spain, QS ranking.
Of course, Rivera something, Spain. I'm sure that's going to help me find the ranking. Yeah, from the something, I did guess it might be a range. I'm going to go 1,000 to 1,500.
1,400.
Right, 850 to 900. Set out to find the ideal recipe for extracting this oil using an hexane, a common effective solvent. Rather than relying on the traditional Soxhlet method, which works well but requires 24 hours, high heat and lots of energy, they tested a simpler, more scalable batch extraction process, systematically varying three factors: temperature, the amount of solvent used relative to the coffee grounds, and extraction time. Their optimal recipe was 45 degrees C, so not too hot. Only took 60 minutes, and they used 35 ml of solvent per gram of coffee grounds.
Oh, that's quite a lot, actually. I thought it was going to be at least less than the coffee grounds. That's a lot of solvent. Because you're not going to get 1 gram of oil.
Yeah, it's
from
like 35 times. Yeah, true. Anyway, under these conditions, the process recovered about 90%, which is pretty good, of the oil that were after 24 hours.
Can the solvent be reused?
That's a good point. I don't know.
Sometimes they can if you're able to if you're able to do another process afterwards. But so I'd be interested in that, because otherwise, if you can reuse it, then it doesn't matter the ratio as much.
Yes.
But if you can't, that's a big change.
There is a time saving. So they took 60 minutes rather than the 24-hour normal extraction method. So that helps. And less heat, so less energy involved in the reaction. And as they got hotter, it didn't actually help. As temperatures approached hexane's boiling point of 68.7 degrees C, yields actually dropped. The researchers explained this using basic chemistry. Heating the solvent changes its properties in a way that makes it less able to dissolve the oil, even though heat also speeds up diffusion. And they found that the 45 degrees C was the sweet spot.
Yeah, different molecules like different things.
They do. The extracted oil was also remarkably consistent in quality across all the conditions tested, dominated by the linolenic and palmitic acid, both desirable for biodiesel. Even better, the optimized method left behind a cleaner oil and far fewer non-fatty impurities than the Zolklet method produced. And just as important, the leftover solid material, the spent coffee grounds, stayed structurally intact under the optimized conditions. Its cellulose, its hemicellulose and lignin remained largely undamaged, actually preserving more lignin than harsher extraction methods did. That matters because this leftover material can be further processed into things like bioethanol, lactic acid, or even sustainable aviation fuel precursors.
Oh, I was going to say exfoliation. If you need something to use your at-home coffee grounds for, you can make a very easy body exfoliation.
They're hoping that it could be a stepping stone toward cleaner fuel for heavy transport once used coffee ground at a time. Yeah, so job done. coffee. We can use it
Job
for
done.
other stuff.
Now everyone add the brown lidded coffee bin outside, and you have to put just coffee grounds in that, and we'll collect all the coffee grounds.
I think this whole show is a science experiment.
All right, yeah, let's just get into the science. Our safe place.
Triple Z.
We want to appeal to your senses.
Hopefully our mics are on today.
I think there was a way you could check.
You tune into 4ZZZ, and the show is No Idea with me, Max. Probably not for much longer. Gabe and Peter. And we got.
Do you know what tuna is?
Fish.
It's fish!
Thank God someone's working on this. I don't know what I'd do without it.
Fish are friends, not food.
Great start.
Gabe, what does the cat say?
Yeah.
Max, what does the chicken say?
Cluck, cluck.
And Izzy, what does a shark say? What do you boys think is the ideal sleeping position?
Oh, I have tried a whole bunch of different sleeping positions over the years. I think my first commitment to a sleeping position was just the classic on the stomach, face in a pillow. And then I changed heavily from that into
When you stop being able to breathe?
Probably around that point.
Yeah.
And oxygen deprivation in the brain finally caught up with me.
Yeah.
And I made a small ramp of pillows up the side of the bed, between kind of where the bed met the wall, because up against the wall. So I'd have a ramp of pillows going up. And so I'd be a little bit upright, but just a smooth incline up into the pillows against the wall.
Really
and
weird.
then I've had a few eras since then, and now I'm heavily in on the back oaring position.
You, Max?
Yeah, it depends if you've got a partner or not, I guess. But I've been known to snore, so I have to sleep on my right side.
Couch, is it?
In the backyard.
Do tell us, Peter. Why do you ask these questions?
How do you feel about bolt upright, underwater, tail down, head
Oh,
up?
yes.
Sounds
Like a pilot whale. Yes.
This is actually a sperm whale we're talking about here, Max. I don't actually believe pilot whales do sleep like that, but sperm whales do. If you've ever been swimming in the middle of the ocean and you come across what looks like 18-meter giant rectangular pillars floating 25 meters below the surface, you might be looking at a pod of sperm whales having a quick doze.
Really?
We don't see it very often, but I do highly recommend looking it up. It's weird. The first time I saw it, I thought it was a doctored image because I was like, there's absolutely no way. And like I said, they're very square. They're very square looking, blocky sort of animals. And so it does really just look like the Greeks left some stuff in the ocean a while ago. And like I said, we haven't seen it much. So we don't know much. I can't even confirm that this is definitely how they sleep all the time. It might just be a behavior. I don't know. We don't really know. We think that it's commonly seen with whole pods doing it together. Commonly for 10 to 15 minutes at a time, probably. So pretty short power naps. It's deep enough. The reason it's 25 meters below, it's deep enough to avoid waves, which would sort of knock you about, but shallow enough to breathe when they need, because they do need to breathe. And they get to this position by either diving headfirst and turning at the bottom. My favorite, which is slowly sinking tail first. Nice and dramatic.
Yeah.
Very cool. Or just sometimes they sleep when they're coming up from their very, very, very deep dives that they do. So just on the way up, just have a quick nap.
Activate buoyancy mode and have a nap on the way up.
Well,
you think they have to have a breath, wouldn't you?
buoyancy.
But yeah.
Because buoyancy is the big question here. They have those giant heads, which are about a third of their body, and they're filled with oil, wax, and air. Now, do either of you boys remember what that's called?
The
stuff in their head.
Oh, yeah.
There's a word for it.
What is that?
We've talked about it.
because they bounce the sound through it to amplify.
Maybe.
I've got nothing.
I can't remember it at all.
It's called the junk.
Yeah, it is junk. Oh, I was going to
It's called
say
the
that.
junk. Oh,
damn it.
You gotta be more confident, Max.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
It just felt wrong.
It sounds kind of odd, but yeah, it's called junk. And the thing about the junk is that it's all super fatty. And what do we know about fat? It floats. So you'll notice if you have one area of your body that's got a lot more fat in it, it will float more readily than the rest of your body. And so scientists have been puzzled for a long time about how they don't just pop up like a boogie board in the surf.
Sure.
With their big head filled with floating materials that is facing upwards. And they think it might have something to do with bubbles. So we know that sometimes sperm whales will blow bubbles when they're sleeping. But it's already hard enough to find sperm whales. How do you check? Well, researchers at the University of St Andrews in the UK, QS ranking, please.
120.
The worst bit is Uni St Andrews is the one that is doing the new species research, and I didn't look it up, so I can't get this. 80?
115. Congratulations, Max. Very well done.
Yeah.
And they suction cupped microphones to whales so that they could hear their blowholes, essentially. So they have these little sensors that they can suction cup to the whales, and they have microphones, but they also measure the depth and whether they're facing
Don't
head
mind
up or
me.
head
I'm
down.
just putting this suction cup on you. It's all right.
It's a little strange, just right next to your nose. And they put them on 42 sperm whales, and then once they'd popped off, they went and collected them. And this is what they found. They do, in fact, release more bubbles in their sleep. So they're blowing bubbles. They blow about 11. They blow bubbles about 11 times per nap, which is about once a minute. Pretty impressive. But not if they were coming up from the deep. So it's only if they were at the surface and then had a nap. When they dive, the reason they don't do it when they're coming up is because when they dive, there's a lot of pressure on the lungs. It means they're a lot less buoyant anyway, so they don't really need to worry. They don't have all that air that's pushing them up. But when they rest close to the surface, the air in their lungs does cause them to slowly rise, and so releasing some of that air will actually make you sink. And this is the thing that you learn if you ever learn how to snorkel or dive, is that when you want to go deeper, you should breathe out because air in your lungs makes you float. So if you get rid of that, you will sink. Obviously, you don't want to get rid of all of it, some of it, but
internal life jacket.
blow out.
So it is
you go
breath,
down.
Max. You were right.
So it is, in fact, breath. The one thing they don't know is if they know they're doing it. Because we don't know much about sperm whale sleep. We don't know if they're like dolphins, they only turn off half their brain at a time and therefore could remain somewhat conscious, or if they're like us and they just absolutely conk out. So whether they know that they're doing this or not remains a mystery, but what we know is that sperm whales blow bubbles in their sleep.
Cool. You tune into 4ZZZ, and the show is No Idea with me, Max. We've got Maximillian, we've got Gabe, and we've got this.
Single press overtake, stay in scenario 7.
If you push me off the track, I think you have to leave a space. All the time you have to leave a space.
Go on. Get it, Kill. Get it. Woo! Yeah, you don't need to tell me that. Max, we're in this together, mate. Head down. Come on. Yes! Great job, guys. That was hard work. Oh, that was hard work.
F1 on the weekend, it was in Hungary.
Is that in our intro, Max? Sorry to cut you off, but is that Carlos Sainz saying, or is that Alonso saying,
It's Alonso.
It's Alonso, okay.
It's the other Spaniard.
I can park that bus. Yeah.
Equally
we'll
fiery.
in a second.
It could be forgiven that the what do they call it, the Monaco without the walls Hungary track, that Oscar Piastri was going to go on and win, and we could play the anthem this week. Sadly, after the first lap, yes, you would say, yes, Oscar's going to win this, until he didn't, unfortunately. You want to talk us through it, Maximillian?
Yeah, so under Papaya rules, the lead car gets the favourable pit stop, generally being the first one. They get their preferred strategy. And at Hungary, of course, the undercut is quite powerful. However, for Piastri, that wasn't to be, because he ran into a certain Spaniard.
He did
on
run
his outlap.
Yeah.
Under blue flags. And what we're now dubbing Sainz-gate, which Piastri has described as the dumbest move that he has ever seen on a racetrack.
Yeah, because in Formula One, and I've never liked this, but it is just how it works. If you're leading, if you're ahead of someone in the standings and you come up behind them to lap them, they get shown blue flags, which are just blue lights now, which basically tell them they have to get out of the way. They can't race that car. They have to let it through. So Sainz had, I think, 7 or 8 of those.
Yes.
And then with Piastri behind him, indicating that there's a car behind you that needs to get past. You need to let it pass. And then, what happened, Maxi?
Well, they touched. They touched.
But then Sainz was actually trying to pass Alonso at the time as well. So
it doesn't matter. The blue flag supersede.
Just no one told Sainz that Piastri was behind him, and Sainz probably thought the blue flags were for Alonso.
His engineer absolutely told him.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually. I mean, I have to actually agree with Piastri here. I think Carlos Sainz is a great driver. That was really poor.
Was there a fight in the car park later, or?
It wasn't quite Max and Ocon at Brazil.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. It was definitely a bit of a war of words, at least in the paddock.
Yeah. And George Russell had his usual start, which was good to see. The unluckiest driver in Formula One. He actually revved his engine too much, and his battery was too overcharged or something. And then suddenly he had no turbo to start the race with.
Welcome to anti-stall.
Anti-stall,
where the clutch deactivates, and then you're sitting there like a duck.
Yeah.
Sorry, we didn't get to the most tragic thing about Piastri. Is that then his gearbox died on him.
It did. So he had to retire. So he had a DNF, unfortunately, which is unusual for Oscar because he looks after his car.
He had the longest run of no DNFs there for a minute. Longest active run. I think Hamilton still has the all-time record, as with like every other all-time record.
But all was not lost for McLaren because Oscar's teammate, Lando Norris, world champion, last year's world champion, went on to win the race. And then we had, who was second? Max Verstappen in the Red Bull.
Out of nowhere.
Yes.
Out of nowhere. So Laura Meckes is saying, like, that's what Verstappen can do with a car that's not to his liking. Imagine what he can do with a car that is.
Exactly.
Like, if we can actually get it in the window for him.
Yeah.
Red Bull might have a really resurgent second half of this year.
And then Mercedes with Kimi Antonelli was third. Are we thinking that did they use the new tail wing for this race, the McLaren?
I'm uncertain on that.
No, yeah.
I saw clips of it, so I believe they did, yeah.
Okay. And but they
at least tested it. Yeah.
I think they always bring it to like FP1, no matter what.
So we're thinking that McLaren and now Red Bull are bringing it to Mercedes at the top of the field.
And so are Ferrari.
Yeah, true. Because they were fourth
we're actually
and fifth,
on for an interesting championship here. And Aston is now back in the midfield, apparently.
Yeah, didn't he finish 12th? Alonso? Something like that, anyway.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm really impressed with Audi as well. Like, for Nico to get in the points, and Bortoletto wasn't that far off in 11th. So they're looking really good for what, in inverted commas, a new team using their own power unit, being the Audi power unit. So that's impressive, and Nico always does a good drive. On the flip side, though, Cadillac's still not performing that well at the back of the field.
They don't know how to design brakes, apparently. They're just constantly having cooling issues, like on the front brakes, the rear brakes, wherever. They just have not designed those ducts well enough.
Sure enough. Okay, now, any more to report on the Formula One? Well, yes, there's another race. There's the Bahrain race is coming back. Gabe, have you heard about this?
I have not heard about this.
Yeah, Bahrain. They're going to have Bahrain.
But guess where they're going to have Bahrain?
Where the Bahrain race is going to be held.
Yes. It still has the naming rights, but it can be anywhere in the world.
No,
because they're
not
paying
doubling
for
up
it
in the Netherlands with a Bahrain race as well.
That'd be good. Yeah, no, they're going to dust off the an old track which they last used in 2017, which was in Malaysia.
Really?
Yeah. Is that Sepang? Is that the racetrack? Sepang race?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're going to, because MotoGP already races there, so they're up to standard, up to code for Formula One, FIA, track. So yeah, we're going to see that in October, I'm thinking.
Bahrain race in Malaysia.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those things on like a quiz show however many years from now. Where was the 2026 Bahrain Grand Prix held?
Yes. So you'll be right on that, go.
And who was the last winner? Max Verstappen.
Oh, there you go.
Very good. And it confirmed as well it was just in the practice that McLaren brought that Macarena.
And not in the actual race.
Not in the actual race.
Yeah, but I think they're still trying to iron it out, yeah.
They're still trying to iron it out, and they've got, 4 weekends now until the next race, so I imagine some big upgrade packages will be coming in this...
With the summer break.
This little sort of break, yeah.
Fair enough. F2 and F3 happen on the weekend. We'll speak about them next week. NASCAR also happened on the weekend. The Cup, it was on an oval circuit. Again, not Shane Van Gisbergen's favourite circuit to be on, but he did manage to finish 16th, which gave him enough points to stay in the chase, which is the finals for the NASCAR Cup later on in the year. He's sitting at 15th, so he's one under the cutoff of 16th, which is where he needs to be. And then we had Sail GP happen in the UK over the weekend. Did you catch any of this, Gabe?
No. I did not, Max.
Okay.
What has been happening? I was on the road all weekend.
Oh, and it was very blustery. And you think this would favour Australia, but not so well. They finished 7th overall. The team to beat was Spain, as it turned out. So Spain did really well. And then Sweden came in 2nd overall, which is skippered by an Australian, Outridge. And then Canada which looked like the team to beat at the beginning of the first fleet races, came in third overall. But Australia still leads the 2026 Sail GP Championship on 66 points, well ahead of their nearest rivals at the moment. But we'll see what changes. The next race is probably in about 4 weeks' time, 3 or 4 weeks' time. Any more to add for the MotoRap this week?
No, that's it. We've got Supercars this weekend. And other than that, it's a couple of weeks away until F1, F1 Academy, F2s, and I think 2 weeks away until MotoGP.
Cool. Maxie, any more to add?
No, it's a good point about F1 Academy because that's like their training ground, isn't it?
It is.
Zandvoort.
Yeah.
So it'll be exciting
Netherlands.
to watch.
It will be really good. Okay. 3 physicists at the Technical University of Denmark, they have ranked the types of paper that are most likely to cause a paper cut.
Oh, shut up. Really?
Yeah. That goes out to Izzy, who couldn't be here today. You tune in to 4ZZZ, and the show is No Idea with me, Max. We got Peter. What do you got for us, Gabe?
I've got our mystery species for us, Max. I love that sound.
Yeah. That's you getting up in the
Sounds
morning.
kind of like a koala.
That's right.
It does sound a bit koala-y, doesn't it? The bellow of a koala. It is, as Stephen, our first texter, nailed, Colobus congoensis is the scientific name.
So I was right. This is in the jungle.
Or Likweli, a type of colobus monkey or colobus monkey. This is and it's pretty amazing because it's a brand new species, new to science, and I love this because it isn't just a case of we thought it was part of another species, we did some genetic analysis and realized they're actually distinct. This is proper brand new monkey, very different from other monkeys around it.
I haven't seen that monkey before.
Yeah, this is reported in a new scientific paper published with open access in PLOS One by an international team of researchers led out of Likweli Wildlife Research Foundation, which doesn't have a QS ranking as a research foundation. But this story starts 18 years ago in the dense forest of Lomami National Park in the Democratic Republic of Congo. There were some conservationists who photographed a monkey that they couldn't identify. And it includes some of the researchers on the paper, also some of the ones who couldn't identify what this monkey was. 10 years later, they got a much better observation, 2018, and it triggered a search. They're like, all right, let's go figure out what this thing is. Because even the local communities around this area seem to know very little about it. They had a name, the Likweli name comes from them, but they didn't know much about the actual monkey itself. So this team went out, local researchers, international researchers, team of them went out, and over the course of 4 years tried to figure out what this thing was based off those two observations and like verbal evidence from the local communities. And from all of that time in the field, they made 114 observations of this new species of monkey called Likweli across 1,700 kilometers squared. For reference, that's almost exactly the size of Gari, formerly Fraser Island. That's pretty
small.
A relatively small space, but a lot of field work involved to survey
when you're on
across that
foot,
space.
it's not that small.
Yeah, and very dense forest. And so they saw them usually in groups, often alongside other monkey species, but they themselves are very unique. They had amazing pictures of them and videos and audio recordings of them. They look really weird. These did you see the photo, Peter, of these monkeys?
No, I didn't know it was a monkey.
I thought you sent me this. They like, I don't know, they look kind of like the body's very standard as a sort of colobus monkey look. But do you want to describe what you're looking at here?
Maybe I did send this to you. Wow, okay, so it's got a very long tail. Let's just imagine regular monkey.
Yeah.
Right, regular monkey, George, what's it called? Curious George kind of monkey.
Curious George is a chimp, but that's okay.
I've made a grave mistake. That's not, because I was actually thinking of a cartoon monkey, and now I don't know which cartoon monkey I'm thinking of.
That's right.
Monkey, not chimp.
Yeah.
Very monkey, but it's all black, long, skinny tail. Very long, skinny tail. But the face is where it's at. Like, it's really serving in the face. First of all, some hair around the face that's very like Einstein's famous photo, but it's the entire head, not just the sides. It's got this beautiful orange lipstick.
Yes.
That goes sort of onto its nose, maybe some bad application, I don't know, but it's great. And then this absolutely stunning light grey eyeshadow that goes all around the eye socket.
Yes.
So a nice little mask
It's
there.
got a mask is exactly the word they use. It looks kind of like it's got
A superhero mask.
A superhero mask across its eyes. The sort of mask you'd put on at a masquerade sort of event. It's
Yeah.
a very basic white one to cover the eyes. And yes, like you mentioned, it's got this really like sort of pronounced snout and orange lips and orange tip of its nose. Like that
Yeah.
skin around the lip and the edge of the nose is orange. They're very unique in that way. They've got and big cheekbones, and they say when they hear this vocalization, that orange around their lips is even more pronounced because it's sort of even more orange visible, and it's part of the call. The display of the call seems to be this flash of orange as it's bellowing out the call, the roaring type call. They then went and did a bunch of morphological assessments on its shape, particularly they look at things like the dentition and the skull
The
shape
teeth.
and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, the teeth, and compare that to similar species. That's one part of it. And then they also did genetic work to map out how it compares to similar species. And what they found is this has diverged from the most closely related other colobus monkey, the black colobus monkey, for about 5.7 to 3.4 million years ago, somewhere in
Kind
that
of
range.
Not super recent, but fairly recent.
Yeah, we're
It's not
about,
old.
10 million years diverged from chimps? Is that right? I think it's about, or 10
I thought it
million,
was
no,
more.
it's less than that. It's actually quite similar to our divergence from chimps, I think. We're about 6 or 7 years.
Well, we've come a
million
lot
years,
further.
from chimps. So this is like, in evolutionary terms, this is a long distinction between this species and its closest living relative, the Colobus satanus, the black Columbus monkey. And so they're saying this isn't, like I said, this isn't just a case of, a little bit of genetic work finding that the species is different on
We'd
paper.
never seen these monkeys
This is a brand new species of monkey, just the fifth new species of monkey in the last 75 years.
Wow.
So a pretty big deal that
It's
this
also kind
thing's
of
been...
interesting that you said that the local communities didn't know that much about it because it implies that it's naturally rare. Like there's a distinction between something having a population decrease to the point where it's now endangered or in trouble and being naturally rare. Like there doesn't seem, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem to be that many of them if the local communities also didn't know.
Yes, so this is the other key thing they discovered, which is that unlike its closest living relatives, which are not that close, as we said, they have a much smaller range. The other colobus monkeys, they have ranges based around that are similar to it in the middle of Africa, Central Africa, which are quite large. They're sort of the size of, they cover multiple countries across their range, and lots of different habitats, so at least they're across their native range, a natural range. But these ones are just in this little pocket in Central Africa. And that 1,700 square kilometers, about the size of Gari, Fraser Island, is that's all they know of their known habitat. That's it. It's a much smaller pocket.
I mean, they could have been reduced by human activity that we don't know
Absolutely.
about, but it sounds like that is just sort of where they
But
are.
even still, that's the known range, is that tiny little area, and the size of Gari equivalent in the middle of Africa. And because of that, and because of the low numbers they saw, they've recommended that as it enters the list of scientists' known species, it should also enter the other list, the IUCN Red List, and enter it in the endangered category, which is 2 steps above extinction. So they're quite worried about it, and say it just goes to show how much this little region has to offer, because even though this is the only one of 5 new monkey species in the last 75 years, it's one of 2 since 2012 in this little pocket of the world. So they had another one, the Lasula monkey, was first
very
formally
dense
identified
jungle.
in 2012. The lead researcher, John A. Hart, said this discovery reinforces how much biodiversity remains undocumented in the central Congo basin and how this region continues to reshape our understanding of primate evolution and conservation. And there's a great quote from Junior Mboko, who's one of the researchers involved, who came up with the scientific name for Likweli, Colobus congoensis, and said, "I was fortunate enough to be part of the discovery from the very beginning, from recognizing it in the first photographs that we were looking at something new in the forest, to training field teams to document its behavior, analyzing the data, and help write the scientific paper. The name honors the Democratic Republic of Congo, a country with extraordinary biodiversity, and reflects the incredible natural heritage that continues to reveal new discoveries. I hope it also draws greater attention to the importance of conserving these forests and the unique species that call them home." home. For me, I also just love that there are still parts of the world where there are entire species of monkeys that are new to science.
Yeah.
Obviously not new to people who live locally in the area, but new to science, new to scientific discovery. I just love that the all-knowing human race still has, entire monkeys that it doesn't know about.
Yeah, it's not super surprising if there's a new insect, right? Like, we can miss those pretty easily.
Out
But a
in the
new
ocean.
monkey, hard to miss.
Yeah, a new insect out in the ocean, yeah. That's right. And I just hope that places like this can get protected and conserved enough so that we get to understand all of these biological mysteries that are still out there. And that's what I've got for you, Max.
As toddlers, we all learned our sounds, right? Gabe, what does the cat say?
Yeah?
Max, what does the chicken say?
Cluck, cluck.
And Izzy, what does a shark say?
I'm coming to get you.
Yeah.
What does the fox say?
You're tuning to 4ZZZ, and the show is No Idea with me, Max. We've got Peter, we've got Gabe talking about the AusAlert.
Yes, because 2 p.m. Eastern time at least, on Monday, your phone did something it's never done before. Oh.
It's not happening now. That's just us. That's us if you're hearing
That
this.
sound fired out across tens of millions of devices across the country. Or at least I hope it hit yours.
God, it would have sucked to work in a phone store at that point in time.
That's right.
Yes. Or classrooms or anywhere else where there's a big chunk of phones.
Or you could be just in Woolworths where I get no reception at all, so...
Yeah, and you'd be fine. I personally was on the can when it happened. Not something I'd recommend. Sure alert. Terrifying experience.
At least it helps you.
I would love to hear any stories of particular situations you're in at 2 p.m. on Monday. It is, of course, a test of our new national warning system called AusAlert, AusAlert, which, they pinged across all cell-based devices across the country.
And actually,
at
from
the
my
same
knowledge,
time.
Max, you being in Woolworths would not have saved you because you don't need reception to get the alert.
Oh, you do.
You do need reception.
Cell reception.
Never
We'll
mind.
get into how it works in a moment.
Brilliant.
Because it was curious. I mean, we all probably got the same message. Test message, AusAlert. This is a test. No action required. It probably said the same thing at the top. They did warn that in some devices, particularly if you had an older device or weird operating systems, it may have been called a presidential alert or an extreme threat alert because it was from devices that were only when the US was using this technology.
That's great.
And so it's using that. They had that like baked into the
into your
alert
Nokia
system, into the notification, into the Nokia, whatever it is. That's right, Max.
Only presidential.
It'll be a presidential
We've got
alert.
a secret president and they're telling us
you got
to
an
be
emergency
alert.
presidential alert. That was still the right thing. If you upgrade a device at some point, it will no longer be called a presidential alert. But the way it works, how it works, is called cell broadcast. You know much about it, Max?
No, I do
Cell
not.
broadcast works?
Yeah.
Sort of a hardware level notification. That sounds off when you hear it, that 10-second-ish siren with the vibration to go with it. It's being used. We're not the only ones to pick up on it. It's being used already around 30 countries, I think.
Japan's had it for a while now, right? For earthquakes and tsunamis?
Yeah, and it's used in those sorts of natural disasters at a national or local scale or any other sort of disaster. Jumps on 4G and 5G in Australia, the cell broadcast, and basically it works by a cell tower in a specific location can be triggered, and any device that cell tower is in contact with, it's going to ping with this notification, and it gets read as a notification by the phone and shows that up. It doesn't matter if you're not on the right carrier to have mobile network coverage. It doesn't matter if you've run out of data on a prepaid thing. It doesn't matter. You may not even need an active SIM card in certain devices. As long as it's still receiving something from the cell tower, it's going to ping it with this notification that appears in the way that you would have seen, where it's like this sort of notification banner on your phone. And then once you dismiss it, it's gone. Right? So that's just how it works. It just triggers this hardware level notification in the phone based on the cell tower spewing out and trying to hit every single device it's connected to. And it bypasses, because it's baked into the hardware of the phone, the notification type, it bypasses your volume, it bypasses do not disturb, it bypasses silent mode that would normally silence other emergency messages like a text message or something from an app like Emergency Plus in Queensland. And it also bypasses a lot of like mobile network congestion. It's because it's just going from the cell tower to the device. That's it. It's not like you're sending a message from a central spot in Canberra or something, sending it across the network, hitting towers, hitting the device, and then having a relay back to confirm receipt. It's just, we pick this tower, this is the message that the tower needs to send, and it hits every device connected to cell coverage, which is usually phones, but can also include tablets and smartwatches and things like that also have it. The Emergency Management Minister, Christy McBain, said they're pretty happy with the results. They were expecting, targeting 90% of the cell towers successfully sending it out. They said they got 94%, which is what they expected, because there was about 6% under maintenance or offline or whatever it may have been at the time. So they were happy with the results. There were, of course, lots of reports, the ABC in particular reporting lots of results of sort of mixed coverage, lots of people not getting it or getting it late. And so there's been reports of that. And there are shortfalls in the approach. People who didn't get it may have just not had cell coverage for one of many reasons. Could be that they're out of the coverage of, where cell networks cover, which is most of the continent.
A lot of the country.
It could be that their device is on airplane mode or turned off. The delay can be because you're not getting signal at that time, and it will still trigger up, I think, roughly up to an hour after the 2 p.m. point. You can still receive it if you then get into cell coverage. So, it's not, and because it's a hardware level message, it also isn't stored on the phone. So once you dismiss it, it's gone. So that's a shortfall in just how this software or
it's
hardware
not great.
works.
If they had an actual message, like let's say theoretically I was in Japan and they were telling me about a tsunami, I'd have to listen to the tone for the entire time it took me to read the message.
Yes.
So if you're like me and you're like, I hate that noise, go away, and then you swipe it away, you're like, now so it's gone.
It's hard to know who gets it because it is by its nature anonymous. Like the base of how the tech works is it just is spitting messages at every device it can attack, so you don't get red receipts. The government doesn't know who's seen it, but
Well, this is what I was wondering when they were announcing the test. Is how do you test this?
Yeah.
In my mind, they were going to tell every single, I guess, public servant, from like people who work on trains to people like police to hospital workers, to just tell them if they'd seen it happen and if it worked. Because how else do you
I'm sure
cover
they
the whole
were doing
country?
some sort of
general feedback,
based testing here. They do specifically say whether you got it or not, you don't need to give that feedback to AusAlert. They're doing, I imagine they're doing their own internal testing and that sort of stuff.
They've got to be, right?
With different devices in different locations. And they've been doing other tests earlier in the year in certain spots too, very tight, including some coastal Queensland towns. And so, so it's anonymous, which is a bit of a drawback. Once you dismiss it, it's gone, which is a bit of a drawback. So if you do get a real one, just maybe screenshot it or something. But also the point of it is to get you to then look at a better source of information, right? It's just to give you the alert.
Yeah.
But there's also the issue of devices made before 2019 or even 2022 for some Android devices might be the cutoff point. Where they weren't shipped with this hardware notification. It didn't exist, so you wouldn't get it. That's one of the main reasons I think people wouldn't have gotten it. If your phone was made pre-2019, if it's Apple, or even pre-2022, if it's Android, you may just not have this feature baked in, and you will have it in future devices. Then there's other human negatives to doing this, though, particularly doing a blanket test for every device. There were some experts who came out commenting how it could affect people with PTSD, but also potentially the big one was reveal phones that should be secret, like safe phones of people, particularly women with coercive and controlling partners. So if in future tests, they might try and think of some sort of opt-out that could be done, but it's doesn't really work with how the tech works. So the best way to probably do that, if you do want to keep it, particularly tests off a certain device that has cell coverage, is to hit it into airplane mode or just turn the device off.
Turn it off.
If the device doesn't have cell coverage, it's not going to get the alert. So if it's on airplane mode and you make sure cellular's off,
chuck it in the microwave. There you go.
Sure, just eviscerate the device. And you want to keep the device.
Faraday cage. Yeah, sorry.
Turn it off. I see what you're saying. The microwave can block the cell coverage. Or just turn it off and keep it off for.
I love where your mind goes, Gabe.
But yes, turn it off and keep it off for at least an hour or so.
Or give it to a friend.
Or give it to someone else. And just keep in mind that anything that accesses the cell network, which can include smartwatches and tablets, will also ping with these alerts. So you need to keep those off, or otherwise, with someone else or in another location or on airplane mode, whatever, when the tests are going off. But all in all, the system is a lot better than the existing combination of emergency alerts we had. It is just the next step. It's the right thing to do for emergency situations, disaster situations, and it's not going to replace existing stuff. So if you use things like the Emergency Plus app in Queensland,
or the radio,
or SMS, or other state-run apps, or TV, or social media, or radio. Keep doing that. There's no indication that any of that's been turned off, and most people say it's much better to have fallbacks than to try and rest it all in one system. We saw recently how easy it is for something like the Telstra network to go down on the 000 numbers, and so having these redundancies is fantastic. But yes, radio is one of the places you can get your emergency alerts, including 4ZZZ, this lovely station. If you'd like to keep this beautiful 4ZZZ station running, you going
there, eh? You going there?
Why not?
Yes.
We do emergency alerts all the time.
We do. Yeah.
But we will continue doing those regardless. Just to point that out. That's important to us.
But I think it goes to show, unlike AusAlert, which is a government-backed system that will receive government funding, a lot of emergency systems people use are not through the government means. It's through stuff like radio, like community radio, and we rely on people to keep us running. So if that isn't you and you want to check it out, 4ZZZ.org.au/support is where you can go to check out the options for subscribing to 4ZZZ and keep us running.
Exactly. And we had a text in from Narelle who said they're from Beachmere, and it bypassed them altogether, apparently.
There you go.
And I was talking to my wife last night, and they had a few calls. And my wife's an audiologist and looks after the cochlear implants. And some of the iPhones paired to the processors of the cochlear implants. It got a bit loud, they said.
Devices.
Yes.
Imagine that going directly into your brain. Yeah, that's...
So there are a few complaints with them, but anyway.
I can imagine.
Fair enough, honestly.
No idea. Space news. Well, Starship, did you see it fly the other day? The fully reusable rocket that SpaceX is developing.
Obviously we have all the reservations about SpaceX, and it's a strange leader, but far out, that thing is impressive to watch fly, isn't it?
It was test number 13. And they went up and they released some Starlink satellites, the next generation. They're pretty big satellites now. And the Super Heavy booster came back, tried to land, but lost a couple of its engines as they tried to fire them up. So it crashed into the Gulf of Mexico. Meanwhile, Starship, this was the big one, re-entered the Earth's atmosphere and was able to gather critical data on the performance of its heat shield before executing a dynamic, I'm taking this from SpaceX's website, a dynamic banking maneuver to mimic future missions.
Fully sick turn.
It did a 360 180 flip, bro.
Flawless execution.
Mimicking its return to Starbase one day. May that day be soon. Anyway, it relit all 3 Raptor engines and executed a landing flip, and then a landing burn and a soft splashdown, which was impressive, which everyone can go and check out. They got like a 30-second video of it landing, and it landed so softly. When it touched the water in the where'd they land? Indian Ocean off WA. It actually floated. It didn't blow up this time. It had a couple of fires on board, but they were
that's beneficial, isn't it?
Yes. So they could. The main problem is they've been trying to work out how the heat shield's working, and now they've got heaps of drone footage from it. I don't think they're towing it back to Perth or anything. They're just leaving it out there. But yeah, it was floating like a boat there for a while, which is pretty impressive. And the Roman Space Telescope, NASA has announced yesterday that has officially fueled up the Roman Space Telescope. This is the new satellite expected to generate, camera satellite, over 500 terabytes of data per year. And by comparison, the Hubble currently, which is 35 years old, creates only 400 in total over its 35 years. So it's
got
going
storage.
It's a storage. It
We know how expensive hard drives are nowadays.
It'll be launched on the SpaceX Falcon Heavy. Hopefully they'll send some of the data back for storage back on Earth. And scheduled to launch on August 30. So it's meant to supplement the current telescopes up there already. It's going out to that Langwood point number 2, which is like a million kilometres away or something, where it sits in sort of a perfect balance between Earth's gravity and the sun's gravity or something. Yeah, and so it doesn't have to use any fuel to stay in position.
Nice.
Okay, you tune into 4ZZZ, and the show is No Idea, but not for much longer. Sign us out, Gabe.
That is all we have time for on this show of ours, which is brought to you thanks to all of the subscribers at 4ZZZ. You can join them at 4ZZZ.org.au/support. And that website is also where you can listen back to our full recording of this show with all the music, as well as a bunch of our previous shows. If you want the condensed version without the music, you can listen to that on whatever podcasting platform you use. Just look up No Idea with a K. No Idea, 4ZZZ. It'll come up. We'll pop up. You can also watch us back on socials at the same handle. Watch us little videos of us chatting away about the science we talk about. And thanks to Toby for editing up the pod. Thanks to you, Max and Peter, for your stories this week. We'll be back in your ears next week. Between now and then, don't sleep like a sperm whale. Start saving up those coffee grounds. And don't think you're safe from flies, even if you're down deep in the ocean. Max, what are we playing out with this week?
Oh, hang on. Enjoy.
There you go.
I'm a goddamn marvel of modern science.